Growing up in her home country of Brazil, Giovanna Domene always had a knack for running.
When I was younger, I always loved playing sports in general, and I would run a few street races, like 5Ks that anyone can go run, and you just, run around the city. So I used to do that with both of my parents, like when I was 10, and yeah, it was just so funny because usually adults run those, but then they would see like a small kid, like 10-year-old running, and they'd be like, "Oh, God, good job."
Domene really started to focus on running at the age of 14 after a discussion with her high school PE teacher. After a few years of training with that teacher, Domene moved to a club and started working with a coach that trained runners in mid to long distance events. But because of how the sports calendar in Brazil was structured, all of her training came in track and field, not cross country.
Our track season lasted all year long, which was cool because it's not that we had a meet every single weekend or every other weekend, but it would be like you had the whole year basically to like develop your like training process. So then you would have state and then later on nationals, like all that kind of stuff, but throughout the year. And then cross, we technically did have a cross season, but it was only January and February.
At about that same time, Domene spent a semester at a Florida high school as part of an exchange program. It was those months in the States that got Domene thinking about attending college in the U.S. But there were a few requirements she had for her new school.
I knew for sure that I wanted to come to a Christian school, but it didn't really matter where because I was like, I don't really have family there or anything, so I could just go anywhere. Just knew I didn't want Florida. But besides that, yeah. Because when I did the exchange, I just realized how many Brazilians there are. And I was like, if I'm going to go to another country, I want it to be something more different, I don't know. I did have American friends when I was doing the exchange, but I did speak a lot of Portuguese, and it's not that I don't want to be speaking Portuguese or anything, but I just wanted something more different.
After attending college fairs at home and talking to people who knew about schools in the U.S., Domene started filling out applications. So where does Taylor University fit into this story?
So when I was a baby, my family moved to the U.S. and we stayed in Chicago for a year and a half because of my dad's job. And we met a family there. And then when we went back home, we stayed in touch with them. And we still are friends with them. So then, one day, my mom just, was talking to their mom. And she was like, Gio wants to come to the U.S. to a Christian school. And their mom went to Taylor. So she was like, you should check out Taylor. It's a great school, blah, blah, And then we did.
TU checked off a lot of boxes for Domene, but sadly for her and her family, there was a real chance this dream might not become a reality because her father had just lost his job.
It was just crazy because I remember I would look at my mom sometimes and be like, is it worth it spending this much time trying to figure out things for college? And then it's not just applying for colleges and stuff, it's also you're going to be going to a whole nother country. So it's it's an extra process, the documentation, visa, everything. So it's just a lot of stuff that you have to figure out and get done. So I was like, is it worth it going through all of this if dad doesn't even have a job at the moment? And yeah, I know I'm getting scholarships, but still, I'm gonna have to pay for something, and it's in another country, so the exchange rate and that kind of stuff also affects it. So that's why, I wasn't sure if it was gonna happen.
But women's cross-country head coach Quinn White would provide some relief to the financial stress the Domenes were feeling.
He sent me an email out of the blue and was just like, hey, there's this family parent of an alum and they're offering to help pay for your college, a little bit financially, all 4 years. And yeah, I don't know, it's just things like that, that I was not expecting at all. And we never asked anyone, and it was just boom, there.
With everything in place, Domene committed to run at Taylor, a school located over 5,000 miles away from her home in Brazil.
In the recruiting process, one of the things that I talked about was how we do some short-term mission trips sometimes in the summer. We've gone to the DR, Belize, Guatemala, a couple other places, and I said, boy, Brazil would be a neat place to go down, and serve with you guys. And they said that would be a great idea, and we had a little bit of money in that fund, so I actually had an opportunity to go down, spend a week with Gio and her family, scout out the opportunity for the short-term mission, and it was pretty cool because I also got to see her run twice.
Sadly, COVID-19 prevented the Trojans from taking part in that mission trip. On White's excursion, he brought Domene and her family TU gear, as well as cards with messages for Giovanna from her future teammates.
It just showed how there were all of these girls that also enjoyed running as much as I did, and somehow cared about me, but I had never met them before. And I think it just showed a little bit of what Taylor could be, like all these people that have no idea who I am, I have no idea who they are, and they still spend time writing me a letter, and just how special that is. I'm like, I don't think, like, if I had gone to college in Brazil, I would never have gotten that. I just think it showed how special it could be coming here.
After months of waiting, Domene finally boarded a plane and flew to Indiana. She says her excitement to come to Taylor outweighed the sadness she felt leaving home.
It was, like, surreal. Like, it was just, I don't know, all of the pictures I've seen on the website, like, it's just here now. I don't know, it was just cool because it also, like, when you're coming to campus, it's not that you see a lot of, like, city and stuff. It's kind of like it's still cornfields, and all of a sudden there's, like, all these buildings, and, like, it says Taylor on the front. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, we're here, like, it's real, like,
And those teammates who wrote those letters to her in Brazil played a huge role in helping Domene get adjusted to living in Upland. They would give her rides to the store, church, or to get her social security number. But they weren't the only ones wanting to help out their newest teammate.
Then the parents were also helpful. Like, on the daily basis, they couldn't really help that much because, of course, like, they're not here on campus. But whenever we had meets, and there were always a lot of Taylor parents, they would be willing to talk to me and get to know me, like the girls' parents, and some of them would give me hugs because they knew, like, that's something nice to get when you're done running, and I couldn't have that because my parents weren't here. So they were always willing to, hey, like, how are you doing? Yeah, let's take a picture of you to send to your parents. Let's give you a hug from your mom, like that kind of stuff.
The senior says technology has helped her stay in touch with her family back home, whether it's the group chat, her weekly phone calls, or FaceTiming after meets.
Whenever I'm done with the cool down and everything, I like FaceTiming them and, just saying, hey, like, I'm done running, and, so that's something I try to do.
Just right there on the course.
Yes, just because also it's a way that they can be a part of it, just see a little bit of... That's your face when you're done running. Like, you're out there, grass around you. You know what I mean? It's just a way to include them in what's going on in my life all the way here.
It sure has been a long journey for Domene. But as she prepares for her final cross-country meet, it's obvious that every step was more than worth it.
It's just cool because it's a group of girls that I can relate to, and I've never had that before coming to Taylor. Even when I was in the club, I did have a team, but most people that I would actually practice with were guys, and they were younger than me also. So it's like I was friends with them, but here it's different. It's like, I don't know. It's just cool because I can completely be myself and be crazy and don't really feel like, oh my gosh, I'm being judged or anything like that. And then just see, like, oh my gosh, all these other amazing girls that each one is different in their own way, but we all can relate to each other and have a good time with each other and, just support each other and all of that.
With the Taylor women's cross-country team, Rick Johnston, Trojan Sports Network.
Mad Dogs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Mad Dogs, roof, roof.